Welcome back to the Sensible Mama podcast. I am Polina Westcott, your host. Very excited to be here with you today. Before we get started, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share it with a mama that you think might enjoy it. My guest today is a friend of mine whom I've known for,
so many years.
Man, I don't even know. I'd have to count. Very many years. We met when we were young teenagers, long before motherhood was anywhere near our radar. And now we are both mothers to wonderful toddlers. She's also a kids show host. It's super cool what you're doing. I love it. Super excited. So we're going to talk today all about C-sections and debunking some of the fears and the myths and the mysteries and the, I don't know, I guess the stigma and strange whatever about it. I'm super excited for the conversation. Welcome to the show, Kirsten. Say hi, tell people where they can find you, and then we'll jump right into it.
Hello, it's me. I am Kirsten Ingram, but I am also known as Lunette Little Moon. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and I have a kid show that is a low stimulation, high education show that is geared toward preschool children to help supplement them on their educational journey.
Beautiful. Lovely. That's not our focus today, but I think that it is very applicable to my audience. So
yeah. We'll take it.
Yes. Awesome. So basically, you and I were pregnant around the same time. You had your baby a couple months before I did. And I remember talking with you. Yeah, I remember talking with you like through our pregnancies, and we were talking about names and whatever. And I remember when you told me that you had ended up with an unexpected but planned C-section. So you weren't like heading in that direction from the get-go, but then the circumstances were what they were. And I remember feeling terrified because I was also pregnant, and a C-section was like my biggest fear. So I'm going to bring myself back in time to that point before I had like my doula experience and all the research I've done on birth. I'm going to kind of put myself back into the position of Polina from that time period because I was terrified for you. I was like, a C-section is like my worst nightmare, basically.
Yeah, it is everyone's worst nightmare.
I mean, some people seem to be like, oh, I'm just gonna schedule my C-section. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
Yeah, that was me.
So if you could walk us through, like, first of all, what was the reason for the C-section?
Yeah. So originally my birth plan, if I look back on my birth plan, which I actually did fairly recently, the original plan was to have a natural birth. I wanted to have a natural birth at the hospital with my team that I've been working with because I had gestational diabetes. I was considered like moderately at risk for my pregnancy. So I wanted to be in a hospital environment, but little to no drugs. Then I was talking with my doctor because I needed to get several checkups leading up to the pregnancy due to the gestational diabetes. And the doctor is like, look, according to your ultrasounds and the measurements, your kid's going to be humongous. And I'm 5'2" and maybe like a centimeter. My husband is just shy of 6 foot. The math don't math. So like I had a giant inside of my tiny body. And the doctor was like, listen, this child will split you in half. Like, you need to think about this. So she gave me options, and she was really, really nice about it. And she's like, look, we can totally go with the original birth plan, and you can do that and see if that works. Or you can schedule a C-section. We just get the baby out safely. And like the risks of both options were pretty much the same, which I was like, huh, okay. This whole time I thought that C-section equals very high risk. I might die. They're going to cut me up. Who knows what's going to happen to the kid, and so on and so on. But the doctor was just like, look, I asked directly, I was like, look, is there any higher risk with having a scheduled C-section? She's like, it's the same thing. Risk-wise, it's the same thing. Procedure-wise, different. risk rise the same. So I kind of looked at it, and then I talked with my husband, of course, because he's also part of this birthing journey, and we both agreed that the C-section was the best option. And in the end, it was, because he came out, funny story, he came out just a poop short of 9 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, he pooped, and then if he kept that poop, he would have been exactly 9 pounds, which is a relatively big baby. For some people, they can absolutely birth a 9 pound baby, no problem, and props to them. My body couldn't handle it. He was stuck in the pelvis when they did
Mm-hmm.
the C-section on me and had to vacuum him out anyway. So I was like, oh my God, if I went through the natural birth, I would have needed an emergency C-section, which would have been even scarier. So
Yeah.
scheduled was great.
It's interesting because, so in contrast, I am like as geared toward natural birth as it gets. Like, no, that's not true. There are some people who free birth, like they will birth at home with no midwife, with nothing. I'm not. I'm not at that stage. I'm the stage just shy of that. Um, so I'm like, avoid C-sections at all costs. I have my birth philosophy about, the benefits of a physiological birth. I feel very strongly about that. But I always put the little like asterisk there that there is a time and a place for medical intervention.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not anti C-section, as I thought I was going to be when I began this journey of sensible mama. I thought I literally started, I had to change all of my descriptions across all of my platforms because I was like, I'm not just a home birth advocate, because I can't in good faith be that, because there's a time and a place when that is not the best option. You know what I mean? However, I think one of the things, like in your scenario, you had so many different factors going. Like, yes, you're shorter, your husband's taller, but that by itself doesn't mean you can't birth your baby. I have seen tiny women whose husbands are very not
Like
tiny.
giant, yeah.
Yeah, birth perfectly naturally without any medication, no intervention. So that's
Mm-hmm.
that's one point. Second point
Totally.
is, gestational diabetes. There's that factor that adds its own risks. There's, and there's different degrees. Like you said, like there are super crazy high risk cases of gestational diabetes. You can monitor it. There's a lot of things you can do. Um, so there's that factor. But the thing that I think was the most interesting, the thing that you mentioned prior to us hitting record here in your little write-up that we had gone over, is your instinct told you
Mm-hmm.
that you needed to go with a C-section. And that, to me, is a really important point, because, like, you had no way of knowing, I put in quotes, you had no way of knowing that he was going to be stuck in your pelvis and that they would need to vacuum him out, even with a cesarean delivery, right?
Totally. I was really close to actually delivering naturally prior to the scheduled appointment. Like the day before my scheduled appointment, I was having contractions and they were pretty regular, and I lost my mucus plug, and like all the signs leading to you're going to give birth was going to happen. So it was
Mm-hmm.
like either way this kid's coming out.
Yeah, and the fact that your maternal gut instinct was, no, the option that's right for me is a C-section, I think is the most compelling reason why your decision was correct. And this is me completely just, you know, having not been there and just based on what you told me, but your maternal instincts are so strong. It is so ridiculous. Like,
It's crazy.
moms know when something is wrong, and in the opposite direction, moms know when something is right. Like, I have seen where people are like, the doctors is telling the mom, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, and the mom's like, no, it's fine. Or worse, like, a mom gets an early ultrasound, they're like, oh, there's a heart defect, you should just terminate. And then they go full gestation and the baby comes out, no heart defect, no problem. Like,
That
that's
was
not to
me
say
as a
don't, oh
baby.
my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah, my mom, when she was pregnant with me, and mind you, I just found this out fairly recently in my 30s. Thanks, mom. But like, so like, literally, so I've been having ear problems my whole life, right? I actually wear hearing aids. So, and I've worn hearing aids since I was a little girl. And no one really told me why. I just assumed that I lost my hearing because I watched too much TV at a very loud volume. Lies, all lies. I was born this way, and I found out because I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, the doctor said I have hearing loss. She's like, oh yeah, that's because you were born with a defect. I'm like, what? Excuse me. She's like, yeah, the doctor told me that you were going to be born deformed. And they told me that you were going to be a boy. You were going to be born deformed. You were going to have all sorts of like special everything. My dad wanted to terminate, like, and my mom was like, no, she's fine. She is fine. I know she is. I had a dream, premonition. She is fine. She's communicated to me like via dreams was my mom's communication. And I'm fine. Isn't that
You're
wild?
more than fine. You're flipping fantastic. That is
Thanks.
wild. I had no idea.
Mom instincts are incredible and insane and powerful, and more people need to be in tune with them.
Oh man, like I was gonna go on a whole, tirade about this topic, but you just completely
They blow your mind.
That's it. Like that's the whole thing. Like moms frickin' know, man. And if you think okay, call it a dream, call it a premonition, call it a gut feeling, a hunch, a whatever. Okay, I am not the kind of person to go to a doctor very frequently. I gave birth to both of my babies at home. I don't do doctors, okay? That being said, doctors are there for a reason. There's a time and a place where you need to use their services, and I am all for it. So I don't want to be like there's no extreme thing where I'm not going to be like, don't believe doctors, because sometimes you can believe doctors and you should, you know what I mean? But also don't always believe doctors.
It's a fine balance that you have to find as a mom. It's a balancing act constantly. Like you're going to get all sorts of medical information and medical blah blah, and these people are trained. They went to school, they've done their internships and so on. They have years of experience working with lots of bodies, and then you have yourself who you've known all your life. So you have to kind of find that nice little balance of walking that line of meeting in the middle.
And the thing that I would say is also doctors are human. You know what I mean? Like they're people. Have you ever made a mistake? Doctors can make mistakes. Like it happens. You know what I mean? Like their word is not the final say. So like in some scenarios you go and you see a doctor and you're like, hey, I am complaining of this situation, and they go, oh, it's probably label, and you go, it just doesn't jive, like
totally.
That doesn't make sense. It like you use your common sense, you use your intuition, you listen to what your body is telling you, and you go, go get a second opinion. There's literally nothing wrong with getting a second opinion. Like, I don't think that you should rely solely on Dr. Google, but there is a benefit where if something doesn't make sense, go and find out what it means. Doctors throw around a lot of words, and it's really important that you understand the words for whatever it is that you're dealing with in any field of life. But in this case, we're talking about birth and pregnancy and all of the conditions, like there's a bajillion things that can go right and there's a bajillion things that can go wrong in pregnancy, just like anything in life. But if you don't understand the terminology that they're using, and they say you have a blah, 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 and you're like, I don't know what a blah, 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 blah is, go find out. Go Google it until you understand it. Look at pictures of the body. Look at the anatomy. Figure out why the liver reacts with this. Like, make it make sense in your own universe, and then go back to the doctor and be like, so I did some research and I don't understand this and I don't understand that, and what if I do this and what happens if I wait? Like, ask the questions. Take responsibility for your own health. Don't just like hand over your responsibility to the doctor, but use them to help you take your own responsibility for your situation.
Yeah, that's actually what really helped calm my nerves with my C-section, was getting myself completely oriented to the whole medical procedure. So I didn't rely on Dr. Google or WebMD. I avoided WebMD like the plague, because anything you look up, I have a cough, you have cancer. Like,
literally every time.
Literally every, I'm like, I'm not doing that. I am not doing that. So I was very fortunate to have the hospital that I have, shout out to Santa Clara Valley Medical Health. They were amazing because they do provide that information for you very freely, and they explain it to you in such a way that is very easy to understand for a non-medical person like myself. So that way I knew all the steps, all the procedure, what this tool is, what that tool is, what this medication is and what it does, what this medication is and what it does, so on and so forth, all the risks of what could happen, the risks of what will not happen. It was incredible. And that really was like, okay, I'm coming in with full understanding of what to expect. And then everything went exactly as I expected. And it was honestly an amazing, like, I loved my C-section. And not everyone can say that because a lot of people have had emergency C-sections and those are not fun. My scheduled C-section was amazing. I wouldn't mind doing it again, not gonna lie.
It's incredible. Like, I love hearing that because I've heard stories, and I'm sure you have too, where people are like, I have a C-section, I'm one and done, I'm not having any more kids after that experience. And that makes me really sad because, like, I don't know, like, last week I attended a C-section and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I was the doula for a mama. She did an amazing job. It wasn't expected. She wanted a natural, birth in the hospital, and we were in the hospital. It wasn't scheduled ahead of time. She was in labor in the hospital. But the whole experience, the doctors were lovely. Everything was kind of like slow and controlled. And at every point, I mean, I was part of, that outcome, but she felt like she was in control because she was informed. She was allowed to make decisions. Nobody's going to force you to have a C-section. It's not like someone's just going to like bash you on the head with like a skillet, yeah, and like handcuff you to the table and rip out your baby. No. Like, that's not I'm not going to say that. I'm sure
serial killers do that, but
right, exactly.
Most hospitals don't have serial killers. No. I hope. Oh God.
I don't think so. I think the majority of doctors are pretty legit.
Pretty good.
And it was beautiful. And she was nervous. And I'm like, but I was also nervous about my home births. I was like in labor. I'm like, I'm going to have to push this baby out of me. Like, well, I'm nervous. You know what I mean? So like the nervous feeling is okay, but you do what you can to stay calm, have a team around you that's like keeps you grounded, understand what's happening. And she met her baby and it was this beautiful, I got pictures of it. I was like tears in my eyes and it was gorgeous. And she was so happy. And I was like, this idea that C-sections are necessarily traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that idea. It's not true.
To debunk a lot of my own personal friends and family on it, because when I was going into the surgery, my mom's texting people like, please pray for my daughter. She's, send well wishes. She's going into surgery. Meanwhile, my husband and I are making TikToks in the waiting area. Like, I literally have TikToks in the waiting. I come out in the gown and the cap, and I come out like, that scene in The Grinch where he's doing a fashion show and he's like, ooh. I was doing that, and like people are freaking out that I'm gonna die.
That's such a you thing to do.
I know, it's so true. It was great. We're like joking around because he couldn't figure out how to open the cap thing. So he's like, how does this work? And he's like putting it on like a headband. Like, no, honey, that's we were having a great time. Meanwhile, my mom's like, oh my God. But it was like, I had to come out and just be like, guys, it's cool. We're all chill. My doctors are keeping me safe. My husband is here to keep me safe. Like, everyone was on the same page, and that's pretty much what it came down to, was just everyone was on the same page. Everyone was there with the common goal to have a safe and good pregnancy and good delivery with a healthy baby. And with the goal in mind, the common goal in mind, we were all working towards that together. And it was just the flow of it was just, it ended up with a wonderful, fantastic little human that is my best friend. He's amazing.
So amazing. And then you mentioned you were making cookies. Tell me about that.
Oh, I did. Not while I was in the surgery. That would be wild. No, it was, so me being me, if you know me, you know that I am like a hummingbird. I cannot stop moving and I have to keep doing something. So one of the things that helped me to keep my mind off of the nervousness, honestly, is I anxious bake. So like when I feel like I need to get that anxious energy out, I go take a walk, come back and bake something because it just makes me feel good. So I baked a whole bunch of cookies, and I actually made it with the intention of giving it to my medical team.
Mm-hmm.
So I saved it for the surgeon and the nurses and all the people at the hospital that work really hard to bring all these lives into the world. And I don't know if this is true. This is my own assumption. I'm pretty sure they treated me much better because I gave them cookies. So treat your medical staff, if you choose to have a delivery in the hospital, treat them really well and they will treat you even better.
So it's funny because I could totally see somebody taking that as like, you shouldn't have to do that, bribery comes to mind. Like, whatever.
Yeah. That was my choice. I'm not
No.
promoting bribery.
But here is something that I think is very true for me. Like, you get in the world what you put out, right? Like,
Mhm.
if you put out negativity, if you're a Debbie Downer all the time, if you're just miserable to be around, people are gonna be miserable around you. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is
Totally.
a truth. Like, I don't think anybody can deny that. And the opposite is true. If you are light and fun and you put out a good energy and people are like, man, I want to be next to this girl. What is her
Mhm.
deal? Like, have contagious happiness, be obnoxiously optimistic. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
when I'm like that, I get good things coming my way. Let me tell you, it is a little
Totally.
ridiculous. You know what I mean? And so, like, okay, maybe your thing isn't baking. Maybe it's not that. You don't have to bake cookies for your surgical team.
No, you really don't.
But what I would recommend is put out freaking good vibes. Be
Be nice.
be
Bare
nice,
minimum,
be
be nice.
positive. And that's
Mhm.
not to say, like, okay, so here's an example. I had one mama who was doing fine. Like, it was a challenging birth, whatever, there was stuff going on. One doctor came in, and she was in the group of, I would say, 2% of people in this world who are just not great. No, like, it wasn't just a bad day. Like, she had something about her that I was like, oh, if I was in this mama's shoes, I would not want her cutting my belly open, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And she came in with this attitude and like negativity, blah. And I turned up the volume on my positivity. I was like, I gotta out positive this poop face. I'm being nice. Um, and I was like, okay, good. And I like rallied the nurses, and I didn't make it about that doctor. I was
Mhm.
like, we're having a birthday. Today's a birthday of this beautiful little girl. Isn't this so wonderful? And then quietly and on my own, I walked out and I found the other doctor, and I said, with all due respect to Dr. So and so, I would like you to be the one to deliver the next communication to my client. Can you do that for me, please? And she was like, sure, because by that time I had already made friends with her. And I was like,
Yeah.
honestly, something she said just rubbed us the wrong way. Could she just not be assigned to my mama at this point? And she was like, I could arrange that. But by that time, like, everything was back to being bubbly and happy and whatever, despite the fact that there were some challenges happening. But, like,
Mhm.
use, it sounds so, like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just very
But it's very real. Like, you get what you put out energy wise. And
absolutely.
so, you know, and it's okay, like, be nervous. It's all right if you're nervous. Ask questions, but be courteous, be nice, give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, hey, you forgot to tell me what's going to happen after such and such a procedure. Can you explain it to me again? Like, don't be confrontational from the get-go, because chances are these people want to help you. They're usually super nice. Sometimes they're tired if it's the end of their shift. you know,
They work
there is
hard.
that. They do.
Yeah.
They really do. And the
Yeah.
nurses, I mean, the OBGYNs are great, the doctors are great, but the nurses are the real MVPs, in my opinion.
They 100%. 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Absolutely.
they keep the show on the road. They keep things moving. They
Absolutely.
do all the real hard work. Sorry, I don't mean to insult any like
It
OBs out
is
there that are
no,
listening to my
no.
podcast.
They know it's the truth.
Yeah.
When you're in the field, you know it's the truth.
Yeah, it's like, man, Nurses on the labor and delivery unit are something else. So shout out
They
to all
are
you guys out
another
there.
beast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Applause!
Yeah, right? It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like you're a kid's content creator.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that so what? It's so funny that you say that, because that's my whole brand. My whole brand is like whimsy, keeping it light, keeping it real happy and upbeat, because when you're dealing with children after they are born, just throughout parenthood, you have to have this mind shift, because there's this assumption that when you become a parent, all of a sudden you're just like, and then all of a sudden you're like a stick, and you have to follow, you know what I mean? You just have to follow these rules, and you have to be serious, and
To be an adult.
schedule. You're an adult now because you're
Yeah.
responsible for a person. It doesn't have to be that way. Like, you can be an adult and be responsible and still play tea time while making dinosaur noises. Like, you can have two things at the same time.
Argue that brushing teeth while making dinosaur noises is more effective than brushing teeth while not making dinosaur noises. That's just
You get
my
it.
unscientific but honest opinion.
It is very not scientific, but very true.
Oh man. I mean, I could practically picture you being rolled into the OR with your full, costume. They'd have to like unbutton your special little fancy little corset and remove your wings before doing as part of the pre-op,
We definitely laughed about it because we were this close to doing that. Maybe next time. Maybe next time. We're almost there, but it's a scheduled C-section, so there's a whole procedure and setup to do it and whatever. But I'm over here like, it was honestly kind of embarrassing at first, because you know me, I'm always very like, and then they wheel me into the OR, and then I'm starting to get nervous because I'm like, oh my god, it's actually happening. But it was more like excited that I'm gonna meet my child nervous, and a little tinge of like, what if something bad happens nervous.
Sure.
So
yeah.
they're about to wheel me in, and we were waiting there for a while because there were other C-sections that were happening, of course, so they have to, kind of stagger us up. And then it was my turn, and they're wheeling me in, and then I turned to my nurse and I'm like, hey, I really need to pee again. And when you're 9 months pregnant, that's every 20 minutes. Like, you gotta pee. Because the kids just, like, step in on your bladder like they're racing a 4-1 or F1 or whatever, So I'm just, like, and then there's like, all right, that's okay. Well, let's go ahead and get you into the operating room, and we're going to get your catheter in and all that jazz and whatever. So we go in the OR, and then finally it hits me. I'm like, oh, I've watched way too much Grey's Anatomy. And then I kind of laugh at myself for saying that. And then I say it to my nurse as a joke, and she's like, ah. And I just like, was that, I'm not funny. Okay. What is that? I'm like, should I be worried now? And then I'm just like trying to make light conversation to get to know my team better. But, that's just me nervous talking. These people were trying to get their job done. They're like measuring things, laying stuff out. And I'm over here like, so how's your day been? Oh, I noticed your Disney pin on your thing. That's cute. I love Disney too. And then the nurse is like, all right, well, we're going to go put this needle in your back now. Like, literally. So they're, like, putting the epidural in my back. I'm like, I should just shut up. I'm just going to stop.
Oh, man. I'll tell you though, they probably loved it, because probably the majority of their patients are, like, scared poopless, you know what I mean? Like, completely just, they see everything. Because think of the amount of people that are pregnant. The majority of them are going through the hospitals. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they've been sworn at before. They've had things thrown at them before. Probably somebody asking about their, Disney lapel pin was not the worst thing they've experienced. And they're like, okay, good, this one's going to be an easy one.
Good point. That makes me feel better, because, like, it still haunts me after 4 years. I'm like, why was I talking? So you've seen a C-section, so you know how the table is, right? Mm-hmm. So you're laying there with your arms out like this. And I just I grew up Catholic. So then I turned to my husband and I'm like, so this is what Jesus felt like, huh? And then I blame it on the nerves. So you got nerves?
You got hormones too, because you were already in early labor. And so you can blame it on the cocktail.
The adrenaline was really going.
All
Mhm.
sorts of
Mhm.
crazy like cocktail of hormones is going on. You have I'm the most amazed when I'm like, helping a mama and she's like going through labor, right? Like in the thick of it. And then there she is and she's like, "Have you eaten today?" And I'm like, "Why? Why are you thinking of me? Like, you're about to push a baby out of you. What are you doing?" She's like, "I'm worried because I haven't seen you drink any water yet since you've gotten here." I'm like,
What about you?
what's happening right now? Like, we're not focusing on this. I am the least of your worries. Would it make you feel better if I took a sip? She's like, "It really would." I'm like,
Aw.
okay. Like, I'm not gonna fight you on this, but also, like, moms are crazy in the best
Totally.
possible way. Like,
Yeah.
labor is wild. Labor
It's
is
crazy.
not an
Not for the
average
faint of heart.
Tuesday,
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
it is a very unique day in your life. Even if you have many kids, that's
Mhm.
still not a lot of times to experience a specific experience. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
and whether you deliver vaginally at home, if you deliver at a birth center, a C-section, a hospital birth, I don't care what kind of category your birth falls into, it is not a normal experience in the sense that it's not something you do on a regular basis. It is a very unique thing. So, kind of going back to our theme here, anything that you can do to make that experience a positive experience, I'm all for. So
Mhm.
if you know you're going into a C-section, don't go in dreading it. Which I'm saying as somebody who used to think about a C-section with nothing but sheer dread, right? Um, but it doesn't have to be that way,
Mm-mm.
Go into a C-section knowing that it's the right choice for you because it might not be. If the doctors are saying you need a C-section and your gut is telling you otherwise, dig into that also. Like, go get a second opinion, figure it out for yourself, find out what the benefits are, what the risks are, what the alternatives are, what your intuition is telling you, and what happens if you do nothing. That's the BRAIN acronym, and it is something that that's the hill I'm gonna die on. Like, that's what you
Totally.
need to do. But if you've decided to do a C-section and you know that it's the right thing, then make it as positive an experience as possible. So
Mhm.
back to that. So you educated yourself. You knew what you
Mhm.
were expecting. You had a positive attitude. You baked cookies, which I'm just going to add to the list of successful actions in case somebody out there is that kind of person. Go
Bake those
bake cookies.
cookies.
Do it
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what else? What other things did you do to get
Um
yourself prepared?
Well, even prior to the surgery itself, I was prepping my body physically as much as possible. So I was doing vitamins, I was having a very healthy diet. I had to be on a very healthy diet because of the gestational diabetes. I had to give up on french fries, which made me cry a lot, but it was worth it, so it's fine. And I did exercise every day. I did what was it called? But there was a word for it. Anyways, I did yoga like specifically for pregnant bodies.
Mm-hmm.
That was so helpful,
Was it
actually.
spinning babies?
I don't remember. It was something
No.
I found on YouTube. But there's lots of them available on YouTube. You should probably go take a class and not do the YouTube route like me because I was kind of like just kind of swimming through all the tutorials and whatever. She was like putting her leg above her head at one point. I'm like, no, no, I'm good.
That's where I draw the line.
That's yeah, cut. But so I did physically prepare my body. I was taking walks every day to try and get the motion going. I was doing the curb stepping thing where, trying to get that motion going. Uh yeah, drink so much water. So much water. That really helped. So I feel like having the right body balance, because when my body is at that level that it needs to be, it kept my sanity more there.
Mm,
Because when the body is not doing well, your sanity kind of drops as well, right? Like, you've seen a hangry person. A hangry pregnant person is even worse. They will like rip off the head of a bear. So I had to make sure that my body was like fully prepared, and then that, with having the right support team with me, like my husband was there every step of the way, so supportive. I tell him this is what I want to do, and he's like, let's do it. How do we make that happen? And you know, I had family who was always there for me, friends who were there for moral supports. It was just having all of my ducks in a row leading to the actual day was like, all right, I feel like I have enough of a foundation to step on, and I can go on this next step of this journey through life of motherhood. And it ended up being great in the end. It was perfect.
It's amazing. Um, it's funny because I also imagine like people are like, oh, it's a major surgery, it's a major operation. One thing that really surprised me about C-sections is how fast they are.
So fast. In and out in like 30 minutes. Something like that. It was crazy.
Yeah, like prep
Yeah.
takes a long time and it feels
Yeah.
longer because you're anxious, right? Like
Totally.
they do a lot of prep. And
Yeah.
then the actual procedure itself is so quick.
Yeah.
And then it
They know
takes
what they're
longer
doing.
for them to like put you back together and get you all cleaned up because they
Mhm.
want to take their time with that, like, and you want them to take their time with that. Like you want
Totally.
it done right. You don't want it rushed.
Totally.
Um
For a lot
but
of moms,
I
that's the scary part too of them doing that because then they have to take baby out. So you have to have dad go with baby and you don't get to hang out with baby. And there's part of you that's like, baby. But my team, my surgical team was amazing. They talked me through everything. They're like, okay, this is what we're doing. So just go and hang tight. I can't move, so all right. I'll just chill out here. I can't move my legs, you know. But yeah, they were just like my anesthesiologist was chatting with me and she's like, "Oh, this is so great." I was like, I forget how the conversation happened, but then I realized on the operating table that my anniversary with my husband was coming up. I was like, "Oh yeah, this would be really cool. We're celebrating a birthday. Our anniversary's in a few days." Like as an afterthought. So that I feel like that helped chill me out enough to not feel the anxiety of like my baby is gone and I just had them take it out of me kind of a thing. It was very scary, but it was fine in the end.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
how did you deal with the recovery after?
Oh yeah. So it kind of, well, it sucked only in that I am a person that likes to move. So I'm definitely the kind of person that if I want something done, I'm going to do it and I'm going to drive myself to the store. I'm going to lift stuff up. Oh, look, there's a child. Hi. You want to say hi to Polina?
Hi, Polina.
I'm almost done with my interview. Okay. Thanks, bud. He's the best. I'm
Handsome.
telling you.
He's so
He's the
handsome.
best.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways, what was I saying? Post
Recovery. Yeah.
recovery. Okay, so recovery only sucked because I am the kind of person that wants to move constantly and do things all on my own and be a I am an independent woman. I don't need no man kind of a personality, which is a blessing and a curse. So when you get your C-section, you can't move your legs. Like it was a struggle to get from the hospital bed to the bathroom, which was just a few feet away. The hardest thing for me, honestly, not gonna lie, was I mean, yes, the physical recovery is a whole other thing, but the emotional recovery of like I am helpless and I can't do things myself and I have to rely on other people. And that was so hard for me as a person who is like just disgustingly independent. So I had to literally call nurses to help me carry my baby out of the bassinet that's right next to me to put him in my arms because I'm not allowed to do the twisting because
Mm-hmm.
of the surgery that happened in the lower abdomen and that would rip up the hard work that the surgeon just did. So I'm like I would call the nurse and I'm like, I am so sorry that I have to make you get out from your desk so you can hand me a baby that's literally right next to me. And the nurses were so sweet. They're like, honey, you just got cut open and your organs removed from your body. You don't have to apologize for anything. Let us do this. This is our job. And I'm like, after the 20th time of them telling me this, I finally was like, okay, okay, I guess you're right. But
Yeah.
it was insane. But the physical thing was a whole other thing too, because then I had to kind of gradually work my way up to walking and to being able to do all those physical things. Like I would do walks from the bed one bedroom to another bedroom and then back. And that was it. That was all the physical things that I can do for the day. And that was fine. And then I had to increase that very gradually, like another couple feet every day until I was finally able to walk the block around my neighborhood. And I recovered, honestly, surprisingly fast compared to other people who also had C-sections because I kind of pushed myself a little too far, which that part I don't recommend, but I do recommend people just taking the initiative to really look at what needs to be done and meeting that requirement and then some so that way you can recover faster.
Hmm. It's interesting because there's also a recovery after a vaginal birth, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it's easier to push yourself too far after a vaginal birth because there isn't a scar on the outside. And as silly
Yes.
as that sounds, like, not to glorify C-sections necessarily, it is what it is. When you
Mm-hmm.
have a C-section, there's something visible. You know what I mean? You can see that you have a wound.
Yeah, you can
There's
feel it.
like, you can feel it, but when it's on the inside, the wound is still there. You still, like, the placenta still came off of your body, whether you had a C-section or a vaginal birth, right?
Mm-hmm.
That wound has to heal. But because you don't see that one, it's easier to forget that it's there. And so for me, it was like 2 days after I had given birth to my oldest kid, and I was like, I'm gonna go for a walk by myself with him strapped to my belly.
Wild woman.
Well, I was like, maybe it'll be good for me to get outside because also my milk was like starting to come in and I was feeling really hormonal, and I was like, maybe I just need some fresh January, Northeast America air.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And so I put the baby in his little baby carrier that I had, and I went down the stairs of my house, and I made it like 2 houses down. And the feeling of, he's a newborn. He was sleeping. He literally wasn't kicking me or anything, but the feeling of his little body pushing up against just like my organs made me just want to crawl out of my skin. And I was like, oh, make it end. And I
Yep.
like ran. I wobbled over
Wobbled.
back to my house. Yeah. And I sat on the couch and I was like, ho, 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 that was a lot.
Yeah.
And then it like really hit me that no, I need to recover. I am not in the same physical condition that I was when I had the baby inside me. Like, that was an ordeal on a physical level, and I need to give my body the time and the grace and the support to do
Mm-hmm.
the recovery thing, because it'll do it. But if you get in its way, you're gonna suffer for it, right?
Totally. Totally. Yeah. You gotta, it comes back to the intuition thing right at the beginning. It's,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta listen to yourself. You gotta listen to your body. You gotta listen to what you think works for you and do that thing that you deep down know is the right thing to do.
And it's easy to say, well, but I have so much stuff to do, and you kind of rationalize the
Mm-hmm.
wrong decision where you're like, but the dishes aren't going to do themselves. No, but you know what? You have a friend that you can call. And if
Totally.
you're anything like Kirsten and I, you have a hard time asking other people to come help you. But I think
Yep.
that we're both going to tell you, get over it.
Basically. Basically.
Sorry.
It is what it is. It's the old saying of it takes a village. It really does. It really does. And
Yeah.
some people have a lot of trouble finding that village, but part of it is you kind of have to make your own village sometimes because it's not
Yes.
always available. So I was very fortunate that I have such a supportive husband and family members, in-laws and siblings and friends and people who are nearby who are there who really truly love us and love me, and I'm so so grateful because I would not have made it this far without that support team.
Yeah. And then back to your point of, if you don't have that, hope is not lost for you, okay? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a little bit biased because I am a birth doula, but if you don't have a husband or a partner that can go to the birth with you, that is going to be that grounding, calm person,
Hmm.
hire a doula.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what we do. Like, and sometimes if you think your husband is going to be, Mr. Anxious Pants and isn't going to help you stay calm, hire a doula.
Doulas are there for you. Yeah.
That's
And
what
they're
we
amazing.
doula. Terrible joke.
Ah,
Oh, that was
no, keep it
awful.
in. Keep it in.
This is is why I don't do comedy, and this is why I just ramble on the internet about birth. I should not make jokes like that. I'm sorry,
That should
everybody. I'm
that should
sorry.
be that should be your catchphrase from now on. Just have it on
This is
business
what we doula.
cards. This is what we doula.
I'm gonna have to work on that. I think I need to take that to the workshop to like a professional, somebody who can actually do comedy. That was terrible. What the heck was I even saying?
I don't know anymore.
Hire a doula.
I was too amazed by that. That was amazing.
That's the best I got. It's awful. Anyway.
And we can end there. That's the show, guys.
Awful. Anyway, my apologies, everyone. Hire a doula. I should have just stuck with that. And then the other thing is, if you don't have people to help you postpartum, the great thing is there's this whole category of amazing people called postpartum doulas. And that's what they do. They literally come to your house and they will hold your baby so you can take a shower. Or if you want to hold your baby and you don't want to let go of your baby, they're going to stay there and they're going to do your dishes and they're going to cook you a meal and they're going to vacuum and they're going to brush your hair for you if you want and give you a foot massage to help you relax. Watch you nap. You know what I mean? Like, they will sit in the room with you so that you can contact nap with your baby and they will keep an eye on you to make sure you don't drop the baby. Like, they will literally do anything and everything that is needed and wanted for you to feel cared for and able to recover postpartum. Postpartum doulas are a great resource that, like, I didn't know about until very, very recently. I had no idea that was a thing.
Really? Oh my gosh. I think because just me being me, I love to overly research things. So I ended up I actually got invited to like this pregnancy expo randomly. And that was where I found out if anyone out there is from the San Francisco Bay Area, they offer that and you get to stay at a hotel and it's like you pay, I forget what the price is, but it's basically an all-inclusive situation where you get to stay at a hotel and there's people who are in-house, they feed you, they take care of baby, they provide you with whatever nutrients and vitamins and water and everything that you need, physical therapy, they provide massages, salon care. And in Japan, it's actually like a completely normal thing. And I forget if it was like everyone does it or it's a very available thing there. So it really should be known much more in the States because the road to recovery for a mom is so hard by yourself and no one should ever do it by themselves ever.
But that you add this expectation to quote unquote bounce back.
Ugh, hate that.
Can we gently work on walking your way back, please? Like, for sure, you want to lose the baby weight. I'm not going to tell you not to. You want to like get yourself back in shape and take it. Of course, you should do that. But please don't bounce.
No, bouncing is bad. And people like the celebrities who there's all the tabloids that are just like, so and so celebrity bounced back from their baby. They had surgery. They had meds, they had surgery and Photoshop. It's not real. Take care of your body. You have one. You have one body.
Yeah. And your baby needs you to take care of yourself. Like, don't start a diet in the 4th trimester. Please. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
And it took me, and I'm a little bit hypocritical in this because with my first kid, I was not feeling myself. I was like bigger, my body was weird, my insides felt like jello. Like, people are like, 6 weeks and you're recovered, and I'm like, it took me a solid 6 months. It took me a solid 6 months before I felt anything resembling myself, and I didn't look right. None of my clothes fit me. That was its own whole thing. And it was hard. Like, it was, I wasn't like depressed, it wasn't like that extreme, but I think that because it wasn't so extreme, I just bottled it up and I just kept it inside, and I just was like, well, maybe I'm just weird and I'm not getting back the way I'm supposed to, and that fiercely independent, not wanting to ask for help. I was like, I guess I'm just gonna like smile on the outside. Yeah, and
totally.
And then with my second, I went in knowing that, and I was like, I'm gonna be more intentional about it this time, and I'm going to actually like focus on just being there for my baby and giving him what he needs, and then I'm gonna worry about losing the weight afterwards. And I'm telling you, that time I did bounce back. Like,
Mm.
but because I wasn't trying to, and there were other factors, like my labor was a lot shorter, there was a lot of other things involved, my diet was different, like whatever.
Mm.
But it can happen, but you just don't make that your focal point, you know? Like, focus on being present, being there with your baby, enjoying the newborn snuggles, because man, they go away way too fast, you know?
Oh my gosh, it's so true. Plus, there is a study that was recently released just last year, I believe, that showed that it's not actually 6 weeks that you recover. It takes 3 years for an actual body to fully be back to what it was before. And even then, there's a lot of changes because when you go through pregnancy, fun fact for anyone out there that does not know this, you actually get some of the traits from your husband. And you absorb those traits because some of his DNA is now mixed in with yours. So you are going to have all sorts of different things that'll happen with your body. And it's like, it's weird. It's so weird. But
Weird.
it's like, it's kind of something that you have to accept and go with the flow and just be like, okay, this is what happens. How can I make this work for me?
And give yourself grace. Give yourself grace to recover. And you're going to have weird days where you don't feel like yourself and you're like, what's happening? Remember that hormones also really affect mood. Like, that is a thing. So when you're breastfeeding, your hormones are doing all sorts of wackadoo things, and it's normal. Like, it's just a thing that happens. Which actually,
they're doing gymnastics in your brain.
They really do. We have a few more minutes. I did want to debunk one more thing, which is I have heard people comment that, well, if I get a C-section, I'll probably not be able to breastfeed my baby, or some variation of that there'll be difficulty with breastfeeding as a result of having a C-section. Let's talk about that.
I had so much milk. I had an excess amount of milk. I had to donate milk even after the C-section. I will say, like I said, I am very fortunate, and I know not every mom goes through that, and not every mom is as fortunate as that. But even moms who've gone through vaginal birth have like lack of or excess. Bodies are different. Bodies are made differently. We have the same kind of general systems, but we, we have different genes and we have different places that our bodies come from, different heritages and whatnot. So I loved breastfeeding. I had zero problems. The only problem really that I had was that I had this giant kid come out of me, so he was constantly feeding, and I constantly was like eaten raw basically. And that was my biggest problem.
Can relate. Yeah.
You know?
No, I do know. My first was 9 pounds 6 ounces when he came out. And
yeah,
to be
you're
fair,
amazing.
I'm a little bit taller than you, but like not by
not
a whole
that
lot.
Much. Yeah.
Not much.
No.
And he was like, feed me. And I was like,
yes.
we. Yeah. And look at him. He's so happy and healthy.
And now, look how giant he is. He's like he's more than half of my height at this point. He's only 4.
That's really scary.
I know. Next year, he's probably going to be taller than me and playing in the NBA. Who knows?
Yeah.
Look at
motherhood
those jumps.
is crazy. No, man. Well, this is, I mean, the breastfeeding thing is like, I don't know why some people have trouble breastfeeding and why some people don't. What I do know is that a C-section is not a sentence to having to use formula if you don't want to.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, give it a try at least, because there's so many factors that can inhibit breastfeeding. There could be the fact that the person's nerves and hormones are out of whack. If a person's very anxious about it and they've already kind of decided for themselves it's not going to work, then it might not work because they've already decided that for themselves anyways,
Right.
Hi. Aw, thank you, buddy. I love you. So, it's not an end-all be-all that C-section equals lack of milk. It's not the case.
Yes.
There could be completely other factors, so see a lactation consultant. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. Yeah. Yes.
Yep. Oversupply, undersupply, or everything is fine and you just want somebody else to check it out and give you some tips. See lactations, they're so amazing. They're more tools than you know. Like, it's ridiculous.
They know their way around a boob.
They really do. And they've seen every kind of boob there is to see,
Every
and
boob.
they're not intimidated by any variety.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, fantastic. Oh my goodness. This is the cutest photobombing of my podcast I've had yet.
He
I've had
loves the camera.
kittens. I've had puppies. This one tops them so far.
Yay! Say hi. Hi. Hi.
Hey, well, I think we're coming up on an hour. If you want to take
All
a few
right.
minutes to let people know where can they find you, why should they find you, and any final thoughts?
Yeah. Well, so my content is more for the moms who have had their children for a couple years because my audience is more for toddlers and preschoolers for I also provide a lot of fun parenting tips because I have worked with children for uh, over 20 years at this point between babysitting, nannying, working at kids camps, working as a children's entertainer, working in a preschool. I worked as a preschool teacher for a while. So I have a lot of tips and tricks for once the pregnant woman becomes a parent. So you can find me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Learning with Lunette.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing your story. I think it was a really interesting and new take on the subject of C-sections, and I'm really glad we did this.
Thanks for having me. This was so much fun.
Yay! Thank you everybody for joining us, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye!